Okay, this is Adam here with the Solar Truth, and I've spent the last few weeks eating a lot of bacon. I was doing a test because I cook bacon a lot in the toaster oven. It's nice because I can just do hard boiled eggs, toaster oven bacon, coffee, work on other things, and bam, breakfast ready in about 20 minutes. So, but I was like, you know what? In a pan, it's faster, and gas is cheaper. So I wonder what the difference really is. So as you can see, I have a spreadsheet here. Um, uh, this is my analysis after cooking bacon various different ways and calculating the usage. Like as you saw, I used a watt meter. I used my sense monitoring app with the different wattage that I was using at my house. And this is kind of the breakdown. So first, the assumptions are, Edison, I am using is about 25 cents a kilowatt. If we go to their tiers, 23 to 37, I mean, 25 is fairly conservative now. It just keeps going up too. So this, a lot of people are going to be like, well, I pay 10 cents a kilowatt in, Colorado or Texas or something, except when it's like $1,000 because of the outages. But 25, you have to adjust that. So these electric numbers in the blue could be a lot less with that. And you would basically cut these in half with solar. So if you have solar power, you finance solar and you're looking at, basically a lot less, this is like a 11, almost 12 kilowatt system, 5-year payback if it's cash. So all those costs would go away after it pays off. And then, even if you finance it 20 years after the tax credit, it's like half the cost, 179. So basically, I'm just going to say 12 cents a kilowatt for solar. Could be between 8 and 15 cents depending on the size and installation and stuff. But then we have natural gas coming in at, I put $1.30 there. And that is based on, just my gas bill. I'm using... it's 120, $1.20 a therm, and then over the baseline, $1.60 a therm. So I put in $1.30, to be kind of in the middle and kind of conservative, I guess. I think this was one of the higher months. Well, not really, but anyway, $1.30. And propane, I see 250 to 350 in my area for filling up large tanks. Like 100-gallon plus tanks. If you go to if you get little tanks for barbecuing and stuff, you're looking at $5 to $7 a gallon. So I actually learned a bit here. So basically, my assumption was correct. Natural gas burner with bacon took 8 minutes. I was on a large burner. Smaller burners were like 9,000 BTUs. Larger burner was 12,000. That was a bit of. It was interesting calculating gas on a gas meter. I have to calculate the BTUs first, then get the therms, cost per day, cost per slice, or per year, $7 to cook bacon every day. 5 slices, not bad. Versus my toaster. Toaster was, about 11, 12 cents per use, and 2 cents a slice, or $42 a year, so 5.6 times more. And then you have... what's interesting is somebody brought up George Forman, so I tried that. I actually happen to have one of those too. That powered on and off a bit, so it took 23 minutes, but it only was on for half the time. So that was really only 6 cents per use, 3 times as much as natural gas. And you got to realize, cut that in half with solar, and it paid for itself. My solar paid for itself 5 years ago, so as long as I don't use way too much energy, it's free. But I'm actually using my George Forman Grill more for bacon. It's awesome. It's about the same time as toaster oven, but cheaper, and the bacon tastes better. It cooks it perfectly. Then you got propane, 2.5 times as much, and then the most expensive one is oven here, electric oven, coming in at 16 times more than natural gas. But you could argue that, well, okay, I could do 30 pieces of bacon instead of 5. Well, I mean, if you got a family of 8, okay, that might make sense, and then you could adjust those calculations. But basically 33 cents every time you do that. And gas in an oven, wouldn't be too bad, 8 cents, but that's still a lot more than kind of almost equivalent to a toaster, but even more than George Foreman with electricity. And definitely keep in mind that solar can reduce those costs. So I also, use my fan when I put it on a pan. So I was like, okay, how much is that using? 140 watts. So that's not too bad. I mean, zero point 0.4 cents, per use. But that's, a good percentage of the cost of the natural gas alone. It's about 30% of that. And so that's kind of the bacon breakdown. Natural propane is definitely pretty expensive too. More than electricity in a lot of cases, even without solar. So if you got propane, yeah, you might want to use electricity more for certain efficient things. So now what this leads to, even though it's fun figuring out one thing like bacon, which you could cook in all these different ways, now what it really gets down to is what is the difference with all your big appliances and what you're really dealing with here. I have a breakdown here. It's kind of complex, but I have all the appliances that you might upgrade. Like I have a lot of people that are like, okay, I want to upgrade, do all electric because I'm going solar. So now I'm do all electric and, it's a good idea, right? Well, not necessarily, because you have a lot of electric things that use a lot of power. So what I did is, the run time, your average time, 1 hour a week, 1 hour a day, this is all equivalent, electric versus gas. So you'll notice that I have 45 minutes for the gas dryer, but an hour for the electric dryer. Well, that's because gas gets hot faster. So electricity, you need more time for it to get hotter, so you're going to run it more. But you're also only running it once a week or whatever, that could be adjusted. That's just an assumption. And so you'll notice that, you'd use a lot of a battery. This is like a Tesla Powerwall 13.5 kilowatt. You'd use 30% of that battery just running it once, but you only need 0.14 more solar because it's only once a week. So, there's a difference versus the daily usage, like your electric heat pump here. You're using 67% of your battery, but you need 2.25 kilowatts more solar. And so these totals are only the essential home items highlighted or in the bold square here. And you can see they're not in the totals, these other ones, because your heat pump, okay, not that many people have pools and spas. But if you did want to heat a pool and spa with a heat pump, number one, it takes 2.86 hours because you're less BTUs than a normal 400,000 BTU heater for 1 hour. So you would need 21 kilowatt hours just to run that, to heat your spa. If that's how long it would take on average. I mean, it's going to vary winter and summer and your spa temperature, but about $5 or $2,000. And with natural gas, pretty similar, about $5 or $2,000 also. But you got to add 7 kilowatts of solar to do that. And of course, that's using your spa every day, which is unrealistic, probably. But that's also, you could say your pool's going to take 10 to 20 times more to heat. So this would also be like heating your pool, once or twice a month. So that would be how you would look at that calculation. So heating your pool once or twice a month would be a ridiculous cost. I mean, especially if you heat it more than that, you could end up having $10,000 in electric just from heating your pool. And you could need a lot more solar. So electric car, 50 miles a day. So this is kind of cool, right? You have a 3.3 miles per kilowatt would be a general like Tesla Model 3. I've seen numbers between 2.4 and 3.8 is what they claim on their website, kind of like how much you get gas mileage for a car. So I used kind of an average 3.3. That'd be like Model 3 average. And if you're driving 50 miles a day, 7 days a week, that's 15 kilowatt hours a day and about $4 every time you charge it, or $1,400 a year versus gas. Save money. So it's pretty cool. Efficient electric stuff, you do save money. Because heat pumps are pretty efficient too, actually. So you're not paying that much more than a gas furnace for home. Electric car, you need to add about 2 to 4 kilowatts generally. I mean, 50 miles a day is kind of a lot because, if you're commuting 50 miles, okay, that's 5 days a week, not 7. But if this would more be like, it'd be like 70 miles a day for 5 weeks for 5 days instead of 7 days if you're just commuting with it. You might not drive it that much. You might drive more, so that would have to be adjusted. Your batteries also in a car is 40 to 60 kilowatt hours. So, this is just using it once. So you're actually going to deplete like a battery a lot more if you use it, if you charge it, at one big time instead of daily top off. But either way, 3.6 kilowatts solar needed, but 2 to 4 is generally what I would say. And then portable space heater is kind of interesting too, because I normally thought, I was like, hey, portable space heaters use a ton of energy. Just use your whole home gas furnace. Well, gas furnace every year is $405. So if it's just by yourself, just heating, watching TV or on your computer or something, if you only have one, electric space heater might be better. But if you have 2 or 3 of those going on, gas heating is going to be cheaper. And then of course solar cuts all these costs in half basically, and then, or if payback is 5 to 7 years, it's free after solar pays for itself. Electric oven versus gas oven, $13 a year versus $52. I mean, there's a lot of pretty cool numbers here. And you can see your if you get a home battery, you're only going to want to supply your essential loads. You're not really going to want to supply your air conditioning and pool and stuff like that. It's just too taxing for a battery. So you would need 3 Tesla Powerwalls just to supply these kind of essential things if you're connecting your home heating and air conditioning, which most time you don't do. Then we have propane here. Propane is basically a little more than 3 times as much as natural gas. So those numbers are just, you have your totals per year. Electric is more, but solar cuts that in half. So basically it's less than propane, a little bit more than gas, and it does pay for itself. Even though gas, this could seem like I'm making a good case for natural gas, solar is going to be better in the long run by far. So, I would still promote that, but I might not, recommend switching your propane furnace or gas furnace to electric furnace and electric car and all that stuff. Because, if you add all these numbers together here, you're going to need 17 more kilowatts of solar. So, if you add the pool heating and electric car and stuff on top of the 5 or 6 kilowatts extra you need. Because basically you're looking at 4 to 7 kilowatts extra if you live in an all-electric home, because these are your essential loads right here that are summed up there. And then, electric car adds, a bit more to that, 70% almost. And pool, depending on how much you're heating it, could double that addition size too. So then we got propane. Now, where you can save money though is, this is one of the biggest things I recommend, is a pool pump, which in California, 2 horsepower single speed filtration pumps were banned in 2008. So because variable speeds are so much more expensive. So you can see, you can save about $1,000 a year doing a variable speed. This, you got to program it correctly to, you want lower speed and more hours. And then you could have 2 kilowatts less. So you could change those to other electric appliances or do a smaller solar system, or think about it that way. So normally I would say about 2 kilowatts less, just to be safe on that. And you're going to want to run your pump on high speed for a little bit for your cleaning too, but this is kind of an average savings. And then pool solar is insane. This was very difficult to calculate. Basically it's about 46,000 BTUs per panel. So you got 8, you got almost the same as a pool heater, almost 400,000, but it's also a very slow heat over the day. It's going to range a lot in the seasons, but really, if you're paying around $5,000 for this system over 10 years, that's really only costing you 37 cents a therm. So it's $1.85 per use and $500 a year on average. So it's insanely less than propane or even gas, and when you're using it, it's not costing you anything. So you might as well just keep heating it and use it. When you're paying gas or propane to heat your pool, people heat it once or twice or over the weekend or whatever, and then they get a $300 bill and never do it again. That's what I see happen a lot, and this kind of breaks that down. So this, I'm going to have links to these charts in my in YouTube there at the bottom, and make sure to like and subscribe. This this was a lot of analysis and a lot of kind of going back and forth on these calculations. So you can check it out, see what you think, how accurate it seems, and if it, if you have any suggestions for another video, more details on one specific thing. But you can also go to natural gas calculators online. I did this for some of those things. I use this to help a little bit based on my own calculations and this. You can kind of see how much gas is costing you, put the price of gas you're paying here and that. And then same thing with energy, kilowatt, figure out the amount of kilowatts something uses, and either you get it off your product, or this has the average, and then how much you use it per day. And then also heat pump. You can go to Pentair's website for their heat pump and put what kind of pool you have in here, and it'll calculate out. I did about a 20,000 gallon pool for some different stuff, but it really depends on your the price you're paying for energy and the price you're paying kind of for gas as well. Like here, we have how much per therm. $1.30 is actually just what I put down too, and then 25 cents per kilowatt. Now in this case, you're not saving anything, but if you're paying any less for energy, like let's say you have solar, so now you're down to 12 cents, or it's going to pay itself off. So it's kind of the break even, I think, is 25 cents a watt, but now you're saving $2,000 a year. So it could work, but you need a lot bigger solar system to do that, like I already kind of showed. And then pool pump, they're using really efficiency reduction, slow speed, where you're using 435 kilowatt hours a month, and now you're down to 64. I went down to about 100 kilowatt hours to bump up the speed at some points and stuff, and be a little less conservative for my savings. So it's about $1,000 a year saved. But good calculators on there. So make sure you like and subscribe, and let me know what you guys want me to do a video on. And so thanks for watching. Bye.